Hello. There's a cafe downtown. It's got a bunch of millennials sitting around a table discussing poetry and electric cars and all sorts of trendy topics. If a server came up to their table wearing lipstick and a 5 o'clock shadow, they wouldn't even comment about it among themselves. Maybe for some of them it really is a non-event, and I guess the others would just follow that lead. Who knows? This video isn't for them. It's for the rest of us. The ones whose reaction would be, what the hell? We might not say it, but we sure as heck would think it. Actually, depending on who we were hanging out with, some of us surely would say something. This video is named For Rednecks as a joke. Actually, as an acknowledgement that the topic of transgender makes a lot of us uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable with transgender doesn't mean you're a redneck, in spite of what some people might think. But the times they are changing, so I want to make you more comfortable. That's the purpose of this training. Here's what I need from you. I need you, at work, never to confront someone about their sexuality, their gender, that kind of stuff. It's not going to make you cool. It's not going to cause your coworkers to be impressed by you. It might get you reprimanded or fired. Not necessarily because your boss is a bleeding heart liberal, but because he or she understands that the organization is at risk if it doesn't protect the rights of all employees. Now, some of you work in places where one or more bosses might be Neanderthals, old school, ex-military, what have you. They're the macho type, so macho that you don't think your workplace will ever change. It will. So you might as well get on board. California had a rule change effective January 1st, 2018. It says that the required biannual harassment training must now include training on harassment based on gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation. Note that these were already protected characteristics. The change is that supervisors need to be trained so that they better understand existing law. Since most everything in this program is of general interest, we've positioned it as California training rather than California supervisor training. We think organizations are better off if everyone understands the rights of transgender workers. Here's the outline of this program. Introduction, when hiring, dress codes, pronouns, bathrooms, and terminology. Transgender is a term to describe people whose gender identity differs from the sex they were assigned at birth. Assigned at birth? That's weird wording, but it's a doctor or nurse glancing at a baby and checking a box, male or female. Problem is, babies grow up, and not everyone feels that their checkbox adequately captures who they are. Now I'm going to go off script. There's a portion of the population that hits a wall right here. They're totally fine with the box that was checked for them, and they can't wrap their heads around others not being equally satisfied. I say, get over it. No one's asking you to second guess your self-identity. No one's asking me to second guess my self-identity. We're being asked to chill about how others see themselves. That's it for definitions. I'm going to switch to important stuff. Hiring, dress codes, pronouns, bathroom policies. At the end, I'll return to terminology. I'm pushing that back since it's simply not as important as treating people properly, with respect. Okay, you've posted a job opening. Applicants are screened. Some make it to the interview process. Roberta looks like she might have been Robert not that long ago. What do? Nothing different, that's for sure. What would you do if Roberta was black or was wearing a headscarf? Do you think that would be okay? Do you think you'd have the right to discriminate against her? Of course not. If you participate in the hiring process and you find yourself facing an applicant that seems to be transgender, don't go there. And don't think that you'll get away with using creative questions to confirm your suspicions. So, do you have kids? No, that's not allowed. Married? No, that's not allowed. You in transition? It's a medical question. Of course it's not allowed. So you worked at Republic. Tell me more. That's a good question. Here's the sad truth. Well-qualified trans individuals have had a rough time for a long time. That means that smart employers will do better hiring trans applicants, at least until other employers wise up. So go for it. Give these people the opportunity that they have a legal right to and that they deserve. California law explicitly prohibits an employer from denying an employee the right to dress in a manner consistent with that employee's gender identity. That's pretty clear-cut. No supervisor can decide whether an employee dresses as a guy or as a gal. You can require a certain standard of grooming, but you must enforce it in a non-discriminatory manner. Can this get tricky? No, I wouldn't say tricky. It's pretty straightforward. I will say that you might not be happy with the rights employees actually have. Can you require Roberta to not come to work with a 5 o'clock shadow? No, you can't, unless clean shaven is required of males as well. Does this mean you're going to get sabotaged by your trans staff as they all decide to wear dresses and grow beards? Highly unlikely. Grateful for your progressive hiring policies, they're likely to be among your best employees, with little interest in rocking the boat. This might seem simple, but it matters. What pronoun, he, she, they, does an individual want to be associated with? Most of the time it's easy. If the person presents a female name, assume feminine pronouns. They'll politely correct you if you're wrong. If the situation is a bit trickier, say a gender-neutral first name like Robin, or an unfamiliar name, it's okay to ask. Assume that transgender individuals are just like the rest of us, interested in helping people who are interested in us. The other challenge is when a worker you've known transitions. When does the pronoun change? I say just ask. One last thought on pronouns. Using the wrong pronoun intentionally and repeatedly is jerk behavior. It's a classic way to harass someone who's trans. And you know what? Harassing someone based on gender will get you fired. Maybe you'll get a warning first, but it's a sure path to unemployment. So don't. If you've made it this far, you can probably figure out what the answer is to bathroom policy. In California, employees get to use the restroom or locker room that corresponds to their gender identity. We'll go into gender identity a bit more in the final section, but you can figure it out. If people see themselves as women, they have the right to use the women's room. If they see themselves as men, they can use the men's room. I'm going to go off script again. What the hell is up with the politicians in some of these flyover states? America's got heat waves and floods and opioid epidemics, all sorts of serious stuff going on, yet there are politicians out there who are getting their 15 minutes of fame by pretending that the rest of us will be at risk if we allow trans individuals to use the restroom of their choice. That's insane at so many levels. Two of the better arguments I've heard are the following. Who's going to decide what bathroom each individual uses? How will that be decided? Based on facial hair, muscles, curves, a quick inspection? This is insane. How would life be safer with a bathroom law? Do any of us believe that predators out there will suddenly not be predators because of concern about violating bathroom law? This is equally insane. Thankfully, most Americans have come to realize that all the fear-mongering is individuals trying to get their 15 minutes of fame and trying to motivate their base. On the subject of bathrooms, have you noticed the change all across California? All single-stall male and female bathrooms have been relabeled all gender. It's a good change since it always was annoying to wait outside one door when you knew that the other bathroom was empty. And what a simple accommodation for trans individuals. The one legitimate bathroom issue would be workplaces where changing rooms and group showers are part of the protocol. I'm thinking food processing, jobs like that. Notice I said group showers. In my local gym, there are 2 locker rooms, male and female, each with a set of shower stalls. For those that want privacy, there's plenty. I could just change in the shower stall if I didn't want to show any skin. If your industry is one of the few that has showering as part of the workday, and both locker rooms have communal shower heads, and there are no individual shower stalls, then your organization might need to make an investment, a separate shower stall somewhere for those that desire privacy. But for 95%, 99% of employers, bathrooms are no big deal. I'm sure some of the troublemakers out there are in a tizzy about Transgender California. Let them be upset. You shouldn't be. You live in California, the best state in the country. We've been ahead of federal law many times in the past, and that trend continues with our full acceptance of those whose sexuality is different than ours. That's it. That's the message of this video. You follow what we've shared above, you'll be a good coworker, a good supervisor. The next section is last for a reason. I wanted to cover what really mattered first. The terms aren't that important compared to what we just covered, which is how to respect people who are different. I've brushed over some definitions, some terms. Let me explain them. I mentioned the box checked at birth, a person's sex. That ID is what's between the knees. Gender identification is where your head's at. I feel like I was meant to be a woman. I feel like I'm meant to be a man. For transgender people, their gender identity does not match the sex they were assigned at birth. As noted earlier, that might be a tough concept for some to wrap their heads around, but it doesn't make it less genuine. There's gender expression. Just like it sounds, if Roberta chooses to dress like a woman, act like a woman, then that's her gender expression. There's sexual orientation. That describes people in terms of the gender they're attracted to. Combine these descriptors and it can get complicated. Can someone who's transgender be gay? Sure, why not? Gender identity and sexual orientation are different dimensions. This is why I held off introducing too many terms until now. It can be a distraction. But I'll close with 2 more terms: social transition and physical transition. Social transition is socially aligning one's gender with the internal sense of self. For example, changes in name and pronoun, bathroom usage, dress. Physical transition refers to medical treatments an individual might undergo, hormone therapies or surgical procedures. Transition is a complex process with no specific requirements or sequence or timeline. The only reason I mention it is that maybe you have, or maybe you will, witness someone taking these steps. It's quite an undertaking. I'm not sure I've ever done anything that comes close. Have you? So give your transgender coworkers a break. Treat them, and everyone, as you'd like to be treated. It's a great rule to live by. Thank you.